Okay, today we're going to look at lesson 2.3. You're going to need your chapter 2 book and a pencil, and you're going to want to take notes starting on page 5. If you haven't done that already, turn to page 5. Before we get started with those, though, just a quick review about some of the things we've talked about. A term is just a number, a variable, or a product of a number or variable. A constant, it's just a term with no variable, so it's just a number. And a coefficient is the number part of a term. So a constant would be something like a number like 4. A term could be 4, 4x, or 4xy. And then the coefficient is just the number part. So if I had a term like 4x, 4 would be the coefficient. Right, a little bit more review, and you don't have to write this down because there's no place for you to write it in your notes. But you've looked at a one-step equation so far, and you know that when you have a one-step equation, you're trying to solve for the variable, and you undo operations. So if there's an addition, like this one has plus 13, you would undo it by subtracting 13. And what you do on one side of an equation, you have to do to the other side of the equation. This step, or this equation, is solved in one step. X equals 1. Two-step problems we've talked about. You work through the order of operation in reverse, so you're always looking for addition and subtraction first. In this problem, the minus 3, that's the subtraction. You undo it by adding 3 to both sides. If you're looking for addition or subtraction first, you undo those operations by doing the opposite. Those cancel. That leaves you with 2x equals 15 plus 3 is 18. Once you've done the addition and subtraction, then you work your way up and you do the multiplication or division. 2x means 2 times x. You undo multiplication by dividing. What you do on one side, you do on the other side. And you get x equals 9. Okay, I went through that quickly because that's review of what we've done so far today. Now we're going to look at solving multi-step problems. Those are problems that involve more than 2 steps. They're multi-step. It could be 3 steps, it could be 4 steps, or it could just be 2 steps, but it looks like a multi-step. So first, the key to solving a multi-step problem is to simplify first. So copy this down. You need to pause the video while you copy it. Do that. But copy simplify first. You're going to distribute and look for like terms to combine. Okay, hopefully you copied that down. Here comes the first example. To solve this equation, it has more than 2 steps involved. The first thing you need to do when solving this equation is to combine like terms. So you look at the right-hand side of the equation, 5m and 2m, those are like terms. And when you add like terms, you just add the coefficients. So 5m plus 2m is 7m. And you write down the rest of the stuff. Minus 23 equals sign 5. Now that you've combined the like terms, now what you have left is the 2-step problem. You look for addition or subtraction. There's a subtraction, so I do the opposite and add 23. And what I do to one side, I do to the other side. Those go away. Come down to 7m. 5 plus 23 is 28. Bring down the equal sign. 7m equals 28. The 7 and the m, that means multiply. To solve it, I do the opposite, which is divide. What I do to one side, I do to the other side. And I get 28 divided by 7 is 4. And that's my solution. M equals 4. Now, the great part about watching a video is if I'm talking too fast, if I'm moving too fast, if you're not able to copy it down, you can pause the video, or you can back it up and watch it again to see if you missed it, or you can pause it in the middle where you didn't have a chance to write things down. So you have completed example 1. Now pause the video, take a couple seconds, and try to complete these 2 problems on your own. Once you've finished, start the video again and I'll show you the solution. Okay, here are the solutions to those 2 problems. Really, for all 3 of these problems, the only additional step that we've added is that you have to look for and add like terms. So these 2 terms added together, 11x minus 6x is 5x. That's the only additional step. The rest of it is just a 2-step problem. Same with this one. Negative 2x and positive 5x makes 3x. The rest of it is just solving a 2-step problem. Moving on to example 2. In example 2, there aren't any like terms, but there is an additional step of distributing the negative 8. So for this example, the additional step is to distribute negative 8 to the terms inside the parentheses. And you do that by multiplying. Negative 8 times 2x is negative 16x. And negative 8 times negative 1 is positive 8. And that one additional step that we just did now makes this a 2-step problem, and I can solve that. I look for any addition and subtraction first, which I have right here, so I get rid of the plus 8 by subtracting 8. And what I do to one side, I do to the other side. Negative 16x equals 36 minus 8 is 28. Negative 16 next to the x means to multiply, so I undo that by dividing, and I divide by the same exact number that's next to it. Divide by negative 16. Those cancel. 28 divided by negative 16. Now, it's not going to come out to a pretty answer. 28 does not divide by 16 evenly. I do know, though, a positive divided by a negative is a negative. 28 over 16 is a fraction. They're both even numbers, so I can reduce it by 2 or 4. And this reduces by dividing the top one by 4 and dividing the bottom one by 4. I get 7 over 2. The important part of this problem is to notice that the additional step is that you have to distribute. The steps you wrote down at the beginning of your notes were to simplify first by distributing or combining like terms. And that's what we did. So again, pause the video, try the second example on your own, and then I'll give you the solution. Alright, so the first step was to distribute the 3, which I've done. 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times minus 6 is minus 18. Now it's a 2-step problem. I look for addition or subtraction, which I have, minus 18. I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to add 18 on this side, add 18 on this side. Those cancel. 18 plus 18 is 36, and that's equal to what's left over on the right-hand side, which is 6x. Last step is divide both sides by 6. X equals 6. Alright, as I've said, the key to solving these equations is to work through the problems step by step, not to skip steps, not to take shortcuts, just work through them step by step. Alright, now you can go on to the assignment part, which is on page 22, I think. 22 and 23. Complete those by solving multi-step equations.